that only war could paint. Mira climbed to the top of a rocky ridge overlooking the canyon and froze. Below her, the SEALs were surrounded again. The enemy had regrouped faster than she expected, forming a semicircle around the wounded men. They were outnumbered 5-1. Mira dropped to her stomach, breathing hard, aligning her scope. Through the crosshairs, she could see Lieutenant Harlow kneeling beside a dying soldier, clutching his hand. She whispered, "Come on, move." But they couldn't. She calculated wind speed, distance, elevation. Her training took over. The first shot cracked. One down, second shot, another fell. Third shot, missed. She adjusted quickly, biting her lip, tasting blood. Fourth shot, perfect. The enemy started shouting, taking cover. She kept firing, each bullet precise, each one pushing the attackers further back. But then, click, empty. She reached for another mag. Nothing. Her last bullet spent. For a moment, the wave had hit her. She was done. Her rifle, her only lifeline, was silent. Then down below, something unexpected happened. One of the SEALs, wounded, barely standing, looked up at her position. He saw her. And in that instant, he shouted to the others, "She's up there! Cover her!" The remaining SEALs rallied, their last strength ignited by her presence. They fired their rounds they had left, forcing the enemy to retreat in. Mira watched, heart pounding, as the men began pulling their wounded toward the canyon's exit. She smiled faintly, whispering under her breath, "That's it. Go." But then a sound cut through chaos, the deep hum of enemy choppers. Reinforcements were arriving again. This time there'd be no escaping. Mira's smile faded. She reached for the sidearm on her thigh, chamber round and steadied her breathing. "If this is it," she said quietly, "then I'll make it count." And as the first helicopter crested the ridge, sunlight flashing off its blades, Mira took her stance. One woman standing against the storm. The air split with the roar of rotors. Two enemy helicopters circled over the canyon like vultures, their guns swiveling toward the last surviving SEALs. Mira's heart slammed in her chest. Dust whipped around her face, stinging her eyes. She had nothing left but pistol and her will. The red of her ammo lay scattered among the rocks below, unreachable, useless. The first chopper opened fire. The desert floor erupted in fountains of dirt and blood. Mira dove behind a boulder as rounds shredded the ridge above her. The noise was deafening, a kind of sound that swallows every other thought except survival. She knew if those men didn't get out now, they never would. She crawled along the rocks, her hands trembling over her radio. "Harlow, listen to me," she said, voice shaking but firm. "There's a supply drop crate clicks north of your position. Green smoke marker. I saw it on my way in. Head there now." Static. Then Harlow's voice came back, hoarse but alive. "What about you?" She took a deep breath. "Just move. I'll keep you busy." Mira sprinted to the edge of the ridge, firing her sidearm at the helicopters, not to kill, but to provoke. The rounds pinged harmlessly off the armor, but it worked. Both gunners turned their weapons on her. Bullets tore through the rocks as she ran, sliding down the slope, using smoke and dust as cover. She dove behind an outcrop just as a missile streaked past, exploding near her old position. Her ears rang, her vision spun. She could feel blood trickling down her temple, but she was still breathing, still fighting. Through the haze, she saw the SEALs moving, crawling, carrying each other, heading toward the north. She forced herself to her knees, her mind running faster than her body. Then she spotted it. One of the crashed trucks still had fuel, and inside it, strapped to the seat, a half-broken RPG launcher. She staggered toward it, every step agony. She loaded the last rocket, steadied weapon on her shoulder, and aimed at the nearest helicopter. Her voice was calm now. She listened through her headset, finally picking up fragments of their chatter. "Who the hell's covering us?" one voice rasped. Another answered, "Don't know, but she's damn good." Down below, Mira spotted their leader, Lieutenant Harlow, trying to move the wounded. He waved at something unseen in the distance, a flare in his hand. And just as he fired it, a sniper round snapped past his head. Mira followed the tracer line, eyes narrowing. There was another sniper, enemy, high on the opposite ridge. The duel began. Her scope locked onto the glint of glass. She held her breath. The world went quiet. Even the wind seemed to stop. She squeezed, cracked, and the other rifle flashed at the exact same second. Both bullets screamed across the air. Mira rolled hard to her left. Dirt exploded where she'd been lying a moment earlier. She fired again, faster this time. The enemy spot went still, but as she steadied her breath, she felt it. A warm trickle down her shoulder. The bullet had grazed her, not deep, but enough to remind her of what she already knew. He was alone, bleeding, and far beyond rescue. Still, she smiled. One down, 20 to go. Below, the SEALs began moving toward the canyon's edge, limping, dragging their wounded. And for the first time in hours, Mira whispered something she hadn't said since her brother's last transmission year ago. "Hold on, I got you." Because this time she wasn't going to be too late. The sun rose like fire that morning, turning the canyon into a furnace of orange dust and heat. Mira crouched behind jagged rock, sweat and blood streaking down her cheek, scanning for movement. The surviving SEALs, barely 15 now, were attempting to climb out of the canyon. They carried the wounded on makeshift stretchers, each step leaving a trail of red in the sand. She could see exhaustion written in every movement, but worse, she could hear engines in the distance. Enemy reinforcements. Mira adjusted her scope. Dozens of trucks kicked up plumes of dust on the horizon, moving fast, armed to the teeth. She had maybe 15 minutes before those men arrived. She checked her ammo. 9 rounds left. No backup, no air support, no extraction. Just her rifle, her grit, and 20 soldiers who didn't even know her name. Her radio crackled suddenly, faint, uncertain. "Unknown sniper, this is Lieutenant Harlow. Whoever you are, thank you. But we're out of ammo. We can't move much further." She pressed her hand to her earpiece. "Stay low," she whispered. "Buy you time." Harlow's voice hesitated. "You're alone out there?" Mira looked at the horizon. Her death was closing in. "Not for long." She slid down from the ridge, moving fast, her boots kicking up sand. She had a plan, reckless, borderline suicidal, but it was all she had. She'd seen an abandoned enemy truck earlier, half buried near a dry stream bed. If she could reach it, she could draw the reinforcement away from the canyon, create a diversion big enough for the SEALs to step out. As she reached the wreck, she ripped open the door and hot-wired it with hands. The engine coughed, sputtered, and finally roared to life. She slammed the accelerator, dust exploding as she charged straight toward the enemy convoy, one lone figure in a stolen truck, driving head-on into an army. From the canyon behind her, Harlow's men watched in disbelief. "Who is she?" one whispered. No one answered, because even they knew. That kind of courage didn't need a name. The truck bounced violently over the dunes, bullets sparking off its metal frame as Mira gripped the wheel, her rifle rested beside her. Enemy fighter shouted, pointing, trying to chase her down. She didn't give time to think. With one hand, she yanked a grenade from her belt, pulled a pin with her teeth, and hurled it out the window. Boom! A cloud of fire swallowed the first vehicle in the enemy line. The others swerved. Chaos erupted across the desert. Mira leaned out the window, firing precise bursts at the drivers, forcing them into confusion. She was trying to stall. She took a sharp turn into a ravine, dust swirling behind her, heart pounding like a drum. She could hear the engines behind her, a swarm of steel and rage. Her fuel gauge was driving fast. The stolen truck groaned as she pushed it harder, knowing she couldn't outrun them forever. So she made a choice. She reached into her pocket, pulled out a small detonator, one of the few explosives she had scavenged from the wrecked Humvee earlier. She jammed the truck's accelerator, jumped, and rolled into the dirt. The truck, driverless now, roared straight toward the convoy. Seconds later, a blinding flash. The explosion tore through a ravine, shaking the ground. A fireball rose into the sky as enemy vehicles flipped and burned. Mira lay flat, ears ringing, the world spinning. For a few seconds there was only silence, then faint gunfire from the distance. SEALs were still fighting. She forced herself up, her body aching, eyes burning from smoke. The explosion had bought them time, but not enough. More enemy fighters were approaching from the east, and she was out of grenades. She picked up her rifle again, the barrel still warm, and started running back toward canyon. Her vision blurred, every muscle screamed, but she didn't stop, because she knew what it meant to lose brothers in the field. And this time, she swore she wouldn't let another one die waiting for help that never came.